Hi there. I'm going to be leading us in the process of structuring Google Classroom assignments in order to help support our student engagement and being able to track that student engagement. So, we will be using the Google Classroom as our learning management system, and ultimately, for us to be able to log weekly engagement records, we're going to be asking that all assignments that you are pushing out to your students are placed within Google Classroom. Therefore, students will be able to check off that they have completed those assignments. And so then you have that turn in option, which will then log assignments that are completed by your students. And this will then alleviate us from being able to, or alleviate us from having to keep manual student logs through a Google Sheet like process. Google Classroom set up for my students. One thing I do want to make mention is that in order for your students to access things consistently fashion, I definitely suggest creating topics within your Google Classroom so that your students know what areas of focus that they should be going to based on whatever your schedule looks like on possibly a daily or weekly basis. From there, we'll notice that we're going to be assigning assignments within Google Classroom, even if you don't have an attached document to go along with, or even if you don't have an external link that your students are going to be going and visiting. So at the beginning of the school year, we obviously have our iReady diagnostic, which is a vital tool to help us understand where our students are and what type of intervention or supports that they will need throughout the year. So obviously we can't plug in a direct link into our Google Classroom that will take the students to their iReady diagnostic. So that's where we're going to have to go ahead and create an assignment, because these assignments will then be able to be digitally logged by an external system that will allow for us to collect data based on the amount of time some of these assignments should take. So I'm going to place my assignment in. I'm going to label it iReady Reading Diagnostic. And within this, I also want to include instructions, because this is where you're going to place the amount of time that it might take for this assignment to be completed. So please, and also giving directions to your students as to where they need to go to access the iReady. So please go to your Clever homepage. Click on iReady. Begin taking the iReady reading assessment. Or actually, we should call it diagnostic, right? Stick. Now, this is where I'm going to go ahead and put within my instructions the amount of time that it should take. This diagnostic should take about 1 hour to complete. We also, some of the questions may be easy, some may be hard, but try and answer with your best response. Another suggestion at this time is if you wanted to maybe put in some video instructions showing how to get to Clever, showing how you're going to click on the iReady, and then if you just want that kind of that in your face instruction type of component, you can always go ahead and add in like a YouTube video of your Screencastify that shows them also how to do that. But notice that I have 1 hour in here, and then over here to the side, I'm going to go ahead and make some changes. So I'm going to press ungraded because really our diagnostic isn't going to generate a grade probably within our grade books, unless that is something that you do within your classroom. But I do want to make sure that I'm going to place this into the correct topic, which is our iReady Diagnostics topic. And then from there, I'm going to assign. So that being said, when these students have this assignment that is posted to them, we're going to want to make sure, and this is probably something you'll want to verbalize with your students at the beginning of the school year, even though this is not necessarily a graded assignment, it doesn't have something that they're interacting with on a Google Doc, but we need to let them know that once they've completed their iReady diagnostic, they need to come back to this Google Classroom assignment and turn it in, because this is where you're going to be able to log the participation and engagement of your students in one nice place. Let's go ahead and look at maybe structuring another assignment. So now we're actually within the school year, and we're going to ask for our students to go ahead and participate in reading a Newsella article. So obviously all of your articles within Clever, the Clever Hub and Newsella will generate to your students in that manner. But in order for us to track participation and engagement, we need to make sure that we're still including this assignment within Google Classroom. So if I had a class, I could definitely go ahead and create an assignment within Google Classroom. At this time, I don't have any classes. So you'll want to do that so it shows up, but you'll also want that second backup of an assignment within Google Classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and head over to create an assignment. And we're going to call this close reading Newsella article. And we could even put the title up here so that they know specifically what they're doing. So we'll go ahead and say, please access your Clever account and go to Newsella. In your Newsella binder, you will see the article assigned to you. Please read the article, annotate the article, and use notes while reading. When completed reading the article, take the quiz. So now I'm going to go ahead and put in that timestamp of how long this should take. This reading should take you around 30 minutes. If you need support, please reach out to me within the comments of this assignment. So now I know that this is going to be something that takes about 30 minutes. I could potentially add in the link to this actual assignment. I've done that before, and sometimes it'll take them to the outside Newsella, not necessarily their Clever Newsella. So making sure that you really specify that Clever's the hub that they need to access to get to their actual Newsella account for themselves and have everything recorded and counted. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grade this at 100 points. I'll go ahead and put a due date, possibly for the end of our second week of school. And I then want to also organize this into our ELA reading topic. And then I'm going to go ahead and assign. And now that this is an assignment, it is going to be something that the students can go ahead and access. And then once they're done, need to turn it in, because that's going to go ahead and document and record engagement and participation with students who are asynchronously participating in their work. Last but not least, I'll go ahead and show an outside source. So maybe after that Newsella article, you would like them to participate in an activity where they'll be, just diving in deeper to the reading. And so I'm actually using a seesaw activity here. I already have a class. I've already connected it to an activity. And so I'm going to then grab the link here. Because even though it's in Seesaw, it still has to be tracked within Google Classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and create assignment. So reflection of reading. So please continue your reading response with this seesaw activity. Click the link below to complete the activity. Remember to come back to Google Classroom to turn in this assignment. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add the link. So this should take the students to the actual activity. And remember that obviously you'll need to have a Seesaw account created for them, which is pretty simple process. And then those activity links will be more meaningful when you're posting them into your Google Classroom. I was going to go ahead and put the title up here too, so we have that connection of like what we were actually reading and what are we actually reflecting on. Let's see if that works. There we go. Okay, and so possibly going ahead and keeping it at 100 points, or if you want to keep it just ungraded, making sure that we go ahead and give them a due date if necessary. That way that we're not getting things, sent to us later on as time goes on. Hopefully we can teach them to be punctual and be aware of their learning and time management skills. And then obviously I'm going to go ahead and place that back into the ELA reading topic. I'm going to assign. And then what I just noticed is that actually I forgot to put a timestamp on that reflection. So you can always go back and edit. And within your notes, going ahead and placing that. This assignment should take you about 15 minutes. So yeah, just getting into the habit of doing that. So you have that timestamp with the assignment. And then lastly, you'll see that you have two different assignments in here. And I'm going to go ahead and put the close reading above. Did that work? There we go. Oh, it actually went to the writing. Let's go ahead and take it back to drag it here. There we go. And now you have two different assignments within Google Classroom focusing on reading. And you'll also notice that each of them have the opportunity to be turned in so that you're tracking that participation and engagement with your students. Again, if you have any questions or need any support, please feel free to email me, and have a great day.